I hope that my videos give you the confidence to mother the way that you want to and to be confident about the decisions that you make. That is my goal for these videos. The first and the last tip might be the most important ones in my mind. Hey guys, my name is Shayla. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, I talk about motherhood, we talk about pregnancy, we do things pretty natural, kind of granola. I have an almost 3-year-old and an almost 1-year-old. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to feel more confident in motherhood. Part of me feels like a little bit of an imposter because sometimes I don't feel comfortable in motherhood. And so I'm like, how can I give advice? But then I realized that none of us are going to feel confident in motherhood 100% of the time. So I mostly feel good about the decisions that we make. Sometimes I question myself and I think that that's totally normal. But if you're like, get me there, like how do I feel good about the decisions I'm making? This video is for you. We're going to start with a sponsor because the first thing about feeling confident in motherhood is feeling confident in yourself. So this video is sponsored by First Form. I take their greens every single morning on an empty stomach. I work with a clinical nutritionist who said that the empty stomach is the best way to do it. I also take their reds, which is like antioxidants and all of that. So I'm going to be doing this. Literally the ingredients on here are beetroot, buckwheat, apple, broccoli, banana, cranberry, apricot. And this one has a ton of probiotics. It says 5 billion CFU of probiotics. So that's really good in the morning. This one I just take later in the day, I guess. This one says it has coffee extract in it, coffee fruit extract. So I try not to take that at night. And then I also really love their vegan protein powder. The chocolate one I make with hot water and it's like hot chocolate and it's delicious. But I feel really good when I take these. The greens help me be real regular. And the reds I think give me a little bit of like good energy. If you're interested in any of these things, you can go to heyshayla.com/firstform, spelt like that. Or you can just go to heyshayla.com/greens and it'll take you right to the greens. Okay, so let's just get started. So number one is, if there's nothing else about how to get more confident, either in motherhood or by yourself, it is this: stop judging people. I've found, this is my own hypothesis, but if you judge other people, you assume other people are judging you. If you extend good thoughts to other people and you give them the benefit of the doubt, you in turn think that people are doing that to you. This is literally what I found. I just want you to try and like, anytime you think a negative thought or judge someone, flip it. So if someone cuts you off in traffic and you're like, maybe they have screaming babies in the car. Maybe they're just being a dick. That could be a possibility. But in my body, it feels better to assume that they needed to cut. And I'm like, oh, go ahead. Yes, no problem. I feel good. I'm not angry. And I assume that if I do something, if I'm at the grocery store with screaming children, I don't assume everybody's annoyed with me. I assume everybody's like, you know, motherhood, man, it's, yeah. And so when you constantly are thinking good things about other people around you, I feel like you kind of start to receive that energy yourself. And this happens a lot. So before I became a parent, I had lots of opinions about how to parent. Once I became a parent, I was like, oh, there is like the right way to do things, but this is the way that's working for us and this is what I'm going to do. And so I think parenting is so humbling in that sense of like, you just get it differently because none of us have any idea what we're doing. We're all trying our best. We're all like doing what we know to be right for us. We're doing what's working for us, for our kids, and all of those scenarios can look differently. So even if we decide co-sleeping, this is what I'm doing, I'm proud of it, I love it, it works for us. I doubt it sometimes, absolutely. Like I watch another YouTuber who like puts her baby down for the night and then goes and does her skincare routine and I'm like, then your baby just sleeps for 12 hours? What? So we're constantly worried that we're making the mistakes even if we're confident about our decisions because the stakes are high. These are our children. These are people. We want to make sure that they feel loved. We want to make sure that we're doing things right. And so we're always worried even when we know that what we're doing is something we want to do. And with parenthood, every person's different, every child's different, every scenario's different. So like you can watch 2 people, you can watch 50 people cook an egg. They're going to cook it a million different ways, but they're all going to have an egg to eat. Hopefully most of them are. So in my mind, if you are parenting out of love, you're not hurting your children mentally, physically, like any of those hurting your children, and you are doing everything out of love and like with what you have, I think that you're doing a fantastic job, okay? So if you see someone parenting different than you do, unless it's unsafe, it's fine. If they're feeding their kids differently than you, if they're putting their kids to bed differently than you, if they're doing different activities during the day than you, it's fine. As long as it's safe, live and let live. That will release a lot of stress. You can then hang out with people that don't do the same thing as you and it's fine because they do it differently. And maybe their kid's gonna be a little more bratty or your kid's gonna be a little more bratty, but they're safe and they're loved. If you listen to nothing else on this video, stop judging other people. Start thinking good thoughts about them. Thing number 2, stop looking for answers on social media. Social media can be a great place to find lots of information, but guess what? This person thinks one thing, this person thinks the other, you follow them both, now there's conflicting information. What are you supposed to do? Because we see the 2-year-old who's skiing, and then we see the mom who's working out every single day, and we see all of these things that we should be doing or could be doing are the best thing for our kids, and it just might not work for our family. Or this person says your baby should be having 3-hour wake windows and your baby's only having 2-hour wake windows. What's wrong with your baby? Nothing. Use social media as a guide, not as the answer. So with Esme, right now she should be having 3-hour wake windows. At 2 hours, she goes to sleep. So easy, sleeps for hours. Currently it's changing, so she's not doing 2 hours, she's getting a little bit longer, and I'm trying to figure that out. I know about what she should be doing, and then we let that happen. And I follow my child, because one guideline that you find online on Google might not be the guide for your baby. And you learn this a lot when you have your second kid, because what worked for your first might not work for your second, and then follow your baby, and then you're gonna feel great about it. Oh, I know my baby, I listen to my baby. I don't blindly hold my baby and be like, no, don't go to sleep, you need to be awake for an hour longer, which is for sure what I did with my first. So then where do you find help? Where do you find the information that you need? If you're not going to get it on social media, you're not going to get it from a course, you're not going to get it from Googling, there's a few ways that I would recommend finding this information. First, a mom that mothers like you and has the same lifestyle. So maybe you want to do the things that the mom who goes to work does, but you're a stay-at-home mom, so you can't really do the same things that they're doing. So find a mom who has a similar lifestyle to you. Bonus if their kids are like 12 months ahead of you, and ask them for help. Ask them for advice. And maybe you don't do exactly what they do, but you're like, that's interesting. I might consider that. The other way that you can find information is trust your intuition. You know what's right for your baby. You know what's right for you. You know what's right for your house. For me, my intuition says I want to co-sleep with my babies. If I had triplets or twins, if I'm somebody that needs my 8 hours of sleep to function and be a good human, co-sleeping is not going to be good for my intuition. My intuition is going to say, I need to do something different that's going to make me feel good. It's going to make me be a better mom. That's going to make my babies feel safe. I get frustrated in the middle of the night when they wake up and they're co-sleeping next to me, and I don't want to do that. Trusting your intuition about what's right for your family is like the best thing that you can do, which leads into number 3, which is know your why. If you know your why about why you're doing these things, you can very confidently say, this is what works for our family. So if anybody has anything to say about what's going on under your roof, you can say, oh yeah, that sounds really great. This is what works for our family. You get to decide that. Maybe you're a stay-at-home mom who needs 8 hours of sleep and can't sleep next to your baby. Or you need someone to sleep next to your baby. Or sleep is like the one that I use the most, because that's the thing that I think about the most. Knowing your why is going to help you to make the change. So maybe you do need to sleep train your baby, but you know that in order to get the sleep that you need, this is what you have to do. And that doesn't mean you have to leave them alone in their room for 12 hours to cry it out. There's lots of different techniques. I've worked with Stephanie, Bedrock Sleep. She's amazing. She does sleep training, but she's like, no, we go in there, baby's crying because they're frustrated, so we go in there, make sure they feel comforted, come back out. Go in there, make sure, hello, I love you, good night, come back out. We sleep trained Leo with her strategy, and it was fantastic. We since have gone back to co-sleeping, but knowing your why will help you make the changes that you need for your family, and defend, if you have to, the changes for your family, or just say, this is what works for us. I'm just leading into the next one. You can always change. So for us, we co-slept, nursed on demand, we did all these things. And then when I got pregnant, I was like having breastfeeding aversions. Like I was just like, my skin was crawling when I would have to nurse her. So I decided to wean her. Oh, I'm so immature. I didn't have a set, like, I'm gonna nurse her till 12 months or 4 years or whatever. I was just like, we're just gonna see how it goes. And at that point I was like, this is the time. And I knew that it was the time. My intuition told me it was the time. It was like right for us, and it made it easier because I knew my why. I can't do this anymore. Same thing with the sleep training. I had a baby coming. I had a co-sleeper. I had no idea how I was gonna co-sleep with 2 kids. I don't know how I'm gonna put one down for a nap while the other one's up. So we did the whole sleep training thing. It took 10 days, which was remarkable. So do what works until it doesn't. Then she got sick, came back into the bed, and then that worked for us because I was like, oh, I can co-sleep with 2 kids. This is fine. And then that's what we're doing. So we changed it again. So people were like, wait, didn't you sleep train your toddler? I'm like, it's okay to change your mind because things are constantly changing. Life is constantly changing. Your babies are constantly changing. Your toddlers are, everything's constantly changing. So what worked for you 6 months ago might not work for you now. Because for me, my why is for my babies to feel safe, supported, and me to follow my intuition. What I like about my why is that it doesn't say, my why is to co-sleep. For me right now, to feel safe, supported, and follow my intuition is co-sleeping. If I had twins, if I had to go outside of the house, it might not be to co-sleep. So your why is not the outcome. Your why is why you're doing this, how you want to feel. It's a feeling, and that way it's not tied to a specific thing, and what you're doing can change. Number 5, take care of yourself. And I'm not talking like self-care, go do anywhere. It kind of drives me nuts when these social media things are like, Mama, you need to take care of you. Like, of course I need to take care of me. It's really hard to do that. Again, everyone's situation is different. So if you're a stay-at-home mom, finding that self-care time is going to be a lot harder and look a lot different than if you are a work out of the house mom. So what I challenge you to do is figure out the one thing that you need. Do you need to take one shower a day? For me, I don't care. I don't need to take one shower a day. Other people are like, oh my gosh, I have to take one shower a day. Fantastic, that's your thing. Do you need to work out once a day? Maybe it's a 15-minute workout. Maybe it's a morning stretch. Maybe, I don't care. Do you need to do that every day or 5 days a week or 3 days a week? Do you need to put mascara on in the morning to like feel a little bit put together or change out of your pajamas? Is that something that's important to you? Is your one thing getting 8 hours of sleep? That's a good one. Maybe it's investing in these greens and having them every morning because you know that first thing in the morning, you're like, I am doing something really good for my body. I love it. Like, you just have to figure out what's your one thing and then communicate that with your partner so that you can make it happen. Seth's thing is that he needs to work out daily for his mental health, for the way he feels, for the way he shows up. And he's communicated that with me and I said, okay, cool. For me, I think it's having a clean-ish house. Do I care about the crumbs on the floor? No. Do I care that the counters don't have anything on them? Yes. Do I care that things are in their home? Yes. If all of that is done, or mostly done, I feel great. It's when things start to get cluttered, it gets cluttered inside my body and I can't handle it. So like my one thing is making sure that things are mostly cleaned up at the end of the night. I like to do it before bath time. So I set the timer. I say, okay, we're gonna have bath time in 15 minutes. During that 15 minutes, I try and do a big sweep clean, load the dishwasher or unload the dishwasher, pick up all the toys, get their stuff ready for the bath. I did a whole video on my nighttime routine so that when I come out after they're asleep, I'm like, oh man, this looks fantastic. When I've connected with my daughters at least once in the day, like I've had a good eye contact interaction with them, that fills my cup all the way. And so just knowing those things are really important. Do I go get a manicure or a facial once a month? No, because I don't care about those things. But if you do, I have a friend who needs to get her nails done. Great. I'm glad you know that about yourself. Do that. Number 6, get your spouse on board, or whoever is helping you, get them on board. Seth has been on board from day one with co-sleeping. He follows most of my wacko ideas until they start to not work, and then he starts to question it and comes with a solution like, maybe we should try this. And then I might go, no. Or he says, no, I feel strongly about this. Can we talk about it? But as long as we're on the same page, when I come to him and I'm like, Seth, things are so hard. Should we just sleep train? Like when we sleep trained Aaliyah, he was on board for it because he knew that that was causing me so much stress, and that he's like, okay, if this is what you think we need to do, let's do it. So like having a supportive partner is so important. They might not be supportive in the beginning. Like most of the stuff that we come up with or that we learn on social media, they're like, what? But you just have to talk to them about it and kind of like get them on board. Okay, number 7. The last tip is think about the things that you are doing. So for me, we don't read that many books. We should absolutely be reading more books, 100%. I think it's a really good thing to do. We don't get outside as much as we'd like to. We watch too much TV sometimes. Sometimes I give them snacks during the day instead of real meals. Like there's so many things that I'm like, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this. So what we need to do is think about the things that we are doing. What are the things that I am doing? See, even this is hard for me to think of. Recently, I've been trying to figure out activities to do because I was like, okay, no TV time. And I turned off the TV and then I realized I didn't have anything for us to do. So I was like, okay, what do you like? So I kind of watched her at daycare. Loves puzzles. Bought her a bunch of puzzles. The magnet tiles, building the magnet tiles. And she loves doing it with me. So like knowing that. I just bought a breakfast invitations guide that gives you ideas that you set up the night before so that when they come out, they can do this thing and this activity. And like, I want to do activities with her. I want to teach her things. That's the kind of mom I want to be. So when you start to tailspin and you're like, I'm not doing enough, start to think about the things that you are doing. Did you feed them? Did you give them a hug today? Did you set up a play date for them later in the week? There's just so many things that you are doing for them. Did you bathe them? Did you teach them something new? Just think about the things that you are doing to help you with some of the guilt of what you're not doing. I hope this was helpful. I also don't want to come off as like, I am so confident in motherhood, I want to teach you how to do it. I've actually lately been questioning a lot of my decisions and just like trying to figure out if I'm doing everything that I can be, everything that I should be. And sometimes your partner or your parent or your auntie is the best person to be like, what? Get off social media. Be aware of what's in front of you. You're doing incredible. You're doing such a good job. Your kids feel loved. They feel like you care about them. They feel like you are there for them. You are doing a great job of taking care of yourself and knowing the things that you need to feel good. I hope that my videos give you the confidence to mother the way that you want to and to be confident about the decisions that you make. That is my goal for these videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Mwah.